Chatelet friends, my name is 0xHackerFriend, and today I'm going to bring you the write-up for the Crafty Easy Box from Hackthebox. Crafty was a box that resolved around mostly log4j exploits and exploiting a Minecraft server. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so now we're back here over on the Pwnbox machine. Let's start, as we always do, with a port scan using nmap. So sudo nmap scsv, and we'll grab the address of our machine. If you don't know, sc runs default nmap enumeration scripts, sv runs version enumeration, and I like to run it as sudo because this defaults to a stealth scan then instead of a connect scan, which is both faster and supposedly more stealthy, although it's not very stealthy nowadays with detection anyways. So we come back, we just have a web server, IIS, Microsoft, open on port 80. We see a redirect to a virtual host or a subdomain. So the first thing I always like to do is add that to my etc host file. I like to use Vim. You can use whatever text editor you want. I'm not very good at Vim. I can get by though. So 10, 129, 222, and 35. And then we've got crafty.hackthebox. Boom, boom, boom. And then escape, right quit. Now we got that going. So now we can check out the website. This is a pretty small attack surface. It's a little strange. There's not port 22 SSH or anything to interact with it, but it is a Windows box. We'll open that link, and we're presented with this beautiful Minecraft website. We have another vhost down here at the bottom. We'll add that to our etc host file as well. And whenever I see a virtual host, I like to do a wfuzz scan to brute force and see if we can find any other virtual host or subdomains. So we'll do -u, and then we'll grab the URL, -w/opt/seclists. Ops useful on the Pwnbox, seclists, discovery, DNS, and subdomains top 1 million. I just like the 2000. Run it once. Words and payloads don't match. Oh, we didn't add in anything to fuzz. So we'll do header and fuzz.crafty.hackthebox. Boom. Now this should work. We'll take the default response length. We know of 182 whatever this is. We'll do --hh to filter out anything with the default response length. And we'll let that run for a second in the background, see if we can find any other virtual hosts. We'll come back to looking at the web server. We've got a couple links here. Looks like they all go to the same coming soon section. We've got this virtual host. Did I add it already? I think I might have. Yeah, I already added it. So we can check it out. It brings us right back to the same website. So I don't really know what this virtual host is doing. We can check the source code for some of these pages. And there's not much here. Looks like just a generically generated website. So the next thing to do is to run a directory brute force against it. And we'll use a seclist word list, useful seclists, discovery, web content, raft. And I like to use words, medium words. I use words because then it gets things like .get and stuff like that. I've just found it to be a lot more successful than any other word list. Ooh, that's a lot of stuff. So then we'll do the silent flag to clean it up a little bit. We can look at this. Doesn't look like it's returning anything useful. We've got the JS, the images. got that coming soon page, so it doesn't look like that's going to be too useful for us. Let's look at back at that wfuzz. Doesn't look like that wfuzz scan found anything for us. So from here, we have a pretty small attack surface to work with. So what I like to do is always run more nmap scans. We'll just do this again. You can do a UDP scan, save the time here. It won't discover anything of value. What we do need to do is all port scan with -p-. That'll scan for all the ports. Excuse me, and then we need to pass the... And we can use the virtual host instead of the normal IP. Sometimes this has different bindings, so we can discover ports that we might not be able to normally. That'll take a little while to run, so I'll let that run. I've already done the box, so spoilers. So I know what we're going to do. So while that's running, we can get some of the other stuff set up. It'll find a Minecraft server on a port for us, so we can go Minecraft CLI. We can find a way to interact with the Minecraft server. In this case, I just used the official one. From this GitHub page, you can go to the releases and find the version for Linux. And open it up, pull out the client, and we can see that it is with file. We can see that it is a ELF executable. Linux I don't know what L or F is, but it's a Linux executable. We'll do chmod + x Minecraft 2 allows to run it, and then we'll just then we will run it. And we need to log in. We'll do hacker friend. And we'll do a blank password. That'll choose us to run in offline mode. If you give it a password, it'll attempt to authenticate against the official Microsoft servers, which we don't want. I will pass it our IP. And just like that, we're logged in. We can say hello. We can see so now we're sending messages to the chat. And this is the next step is the main problem people had with the box, and that's the log4j exploitation. Minecraft runs Java and is very susceptible to log4j. So knowing that, we can search for exploits. We'll do log4j shell POC GitHub, and we'll see what we can come up with. And we've got Cosmer. This is the one I used the first time. This is a very good log4j shell. So we can clone this with git clone. Boom. Oops. Boom. And then we get it cloned to our desktop. We can go in there. What is it saved as? Log4j shell POC. So then we go into that. Oops. We'll see what's in here. We've got some stuffs we can do. Looking at the instructions on the GitHub page, we can see there's some stuff we need to do. Oops. Start with pip installing all of the requirements for the Python. That's nice and easy. And it says we need to start a netcat listener. We can do that as well. And another shell over here. Bang, bang. And it says note, for this to work, an extract archive file has to be named and be in the same directory. So we can now look for a JDK file. I'm going to save a little time and pull the one I have from a blog that I used the first time. Boom. This is just getting the JDK. You can Google for this. You can get it any way you need to. This is just a repository I know that has it, so we can use wget to download it, the tar archive file. Then we'll have to do tar.xf and the name of the file to extract it. And we can see it is extracted there, so now we're good. It does say it needs to be named this version, and we have the wrong version, so we can just rename it to the right version real quick to get it to run. Boom. And then we're almost all set up. So one more thing mainly we need to do. We need to edit the Python script, because this is by default targeting a Linux application instead of Windows, so it's going to try to spawn a reverse shell with bin/bash or slash born again shell, I think that is. So instead we'll just do cmd. We'll edit that. I'm just using nano, so then just x, and yep. So now it will spawn the reverse shell with cmd instead of born again shell or whatever .sh is, and target the Windows host as we need it to. Now that should all be set, ready to go, and we can run it as it says down here. Boom, boom. Oh, and we're going to want to change the user IP. Don't want localhost. We want our 10.10.14.117. This is our ton0 address. Port is fine already. So this generates us a payload. So all we need to do is copy and paste this over into the CLI chat. It's going to pull the exploit class from the POC web server that it starts on this port 8000. And then it will run, and it will get a shell. Who am I? We can see we're Crafty SVC Minecraft. So then we can just go into the desktop. I like to run as PowerShell, because in PowerShell you can do ls instead of dir to list things. It's basically the same thing as Linux commands. And in the desktop we've got the user.txt. So we'll cat this out, and blam! Just like that, we have completed the user step for the Crafty Hack the Box Easy Machine. A lot of people didn't like this because the way log4j works, it actually takes over the process running the Minecraft server, so it effectively crashes it. This is something to keep in mind. If you ever lose this shell, you're going to have to restart the box and then re-enter in the IP into your Etsy host, because it uses the crafty.hackbox for name resolution when trying to connect to the Minecraft server. But anyway, so now that we've got the user step done, we can run some basic enumerations. UMI/priv, we can check out our privs. I'm not the best at Windows privilege escalation, but it's okay. So then we see that. We could bring over WinPs. I did that the first time, ran it. Nothing really stands out. I think it's the same command. No, if I spell it right. And to look at stat.tlnp. No, I don't remember what it is on Windows offhand to look at the internal ports. That's a good thing to always look at. So we'll skip ahead a few steps, pretend like you did all that enumeration. In the home directory of the SVC Minecraft user, we can see a server directory, which isn't normal, so we can check that out. And then in here, we've got what looks like the server for the Minecraft server, or all the files for the Minecraft server. This is where we originally land on the box when using the log4j exploit. We can enumerate all that, but when we look at plugins, oops. Apparently I can't type today, guys. We can see the player count snapshot.jar. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to decompile this to look at the code inside of it. To do that, we'll need to bring it back to our Linux host. So we can do that really easily. We don't really need any of these, so let me just get rid of these for now. We'll need to start an SMB server, so we'll do sudo impacket smb server smb2 support, and then we'll have it be located. We'll have the share be called share. We'll locate it just at our desktop, and then we'll have to give it a username and password for authentication, because Windows by default now does not allow guest SMB, so we can't just transfer it normally. We do have to have some kind of authentication. So we'll do dash username. We'll just do test dash password test, and then that'll start our SMB server on our Linux host. So then going back to the Crafty host, then we need to use use and our IP. This is just to authenticate us to the SMB share to make it easier later. So we don't have to include it with the copy command to copy it over. So we'll do user test and test for the password. And the command completed successfully, re-register. Thing to note is that we get the LTLM v2 hash for the test user. So if we needed to, we might be able to crack that with Hashcat or something and get their password. But we don't need to do that right now. So we transferred it on over already. We can see it. Oh no, we only did the net share. So now we need to transfer it over. So we'll do copy. And we'll copy the file over to our SMB share. And we can see it pop up there. So now we're good. Disconnecting share, so we don't need this anymore. To decompile and view the jar file, the easiest thing to use is just JDGUI. So we can go over, we can install and get a version of that. Go to the GitHub page. And go to the releases. And we'll grab the jar, because that is the easiest. Drag it over to our desktop. And we'll use java-jar JDGUI, and this will start it on up for us. And we just need to click and drag the plugin snapshot over to the JDGUI, and we can start looking at it. Inside the player class, we can see a bunch of stuff. Looks like it is making a connection, to the local host. This looks like some kind of password, so we can copy that. And then it writes again, player online count. It makes a file in the web root. So we can this is a logical leap that you need to kind of make. I don't know if there is somewhere that tells you, but this is the administrator password. So now we have, actually, I guess we can make a note of that. Straightor. So we've got administrator creds. If we had if we had a WinRM port open, we could use evil WinRM to get into the host. We don't have anything like that, so we need a way to actually use these credentials to interact with the host as the administrative user. One way we can use that is we can abuse PowerShell's RunAs function. The easiest way to do this is the RunasCs .exe I have found to be. So we can just grab a copy of this, extract it, and we'll grab the exe out. Boom. So now we got the run as exe, but we'll also need something to run as. The easiest thing to do here is just to make a reverse shell with MSF Venom. An easy way to do reverse shells is you can go to reverseshell.com, something like this. What is it called? Let me look. revshells.com. Shells. Right here, this is an online generator. It makes it really easy to make reverse shells. You can do Bash, you can do Windows, you can do CMD, PowerShell, all that stuff. Today, we're just going to be going over to MSF Venom. Make sure your IP is correct. So we have 10.10.14.117, and we'll do port 42069 because that is the best port. So then we'll do staged reverse. I will do a stageless reverse. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. So we'll enter in that command, and that will generate us a .exe reverse shell. Oh, and our nmap just popped. So now we can see that the port is open on 25565, doing the Crafty server, one user. So normally you'd have to wait for this to get through all the steps. I just skipped it for time because I already have done the box, and I know that that's the open port and the process to complete the box. So now we've got the reverse saved over here, so we don't need this anymore. Now one of the last things we need to do is transfer the reverse.exe and the runascs.exe to the Crafty host, Windows host. Easiest way to do this I've found is just make a simple Python server. 8000's in use because of the log4j website is hosted on 8000. So now we will use invoke web request, IWR, HTTP, enter our address, pass the port, and we'll do run as cs.exe-out file run as cs.exe. This isn't working. Access to path denied. So we will go, for whatever reason, I don't think you can write in the server. We could do iCalc and check, but I'm going to bypass that for right now. So now we're in just the regular home directory for our user. And we'll try the command again. We can see we got it. We just weren't able to paste it. So now it should all work. There we go. Run as cs.exe. Now we'll use that same command, just edit a little bit to get the reverse shell over here. Come on. Boom. And then just like that, we've got the run as binary and the reverse shell. So now we just need to use the run as CS binary to run our reverse shell as administrator and catch it with an NC listener. Don't need this anymore. We'll just use that instead. 42069. Now we got our listener going. We can do run as cs.exe and administrator and our password. And then cmd/c and then the command we want to run. I don't know if you have to give the full path. I did, and it's just always better to give full paths when you can, especially with Windows. Sometimes it doesn't like relative paths. Absolutes are required in a lot of things, so it's easier to just do that by default. And we'll take the reverse.exe, close the quote, and when we run this, we should get a reverse shell. Here we go. On our netcat listener. Who am I? Administrator. So now we can just go to users, cd administrator, cd desktop, cd desktop, cd desktop. Third time's the charm, guys. And we got root. And we can grab root.txt, completing the box. So overall, I don't think it was a very difficult box. There were a couple logical leaps that need to be made. The big problem people had was that the log4j exploit will crash the server, the Minecraft server. So when doing this in a multiplayer setting like Hack the Box, it was very frustrating for players. A lot of people had that problem and rated the box very lowly because of that. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty unique. A good chance to see the log4j exploit in action, which I haven't seen before, and to my knowledge isn't in any other easy or medium Hack the Box machines. So that's cool to see. Let me just recap then. To recap, the whole process is essentially finding the Minecraft server, interacting with it with a CLI, using the log4j exploit to gain a shell, and then that's the whole user step. It's essentially just one step using log4j to get that shell. And then we have to enumerate the plugins, find the jar file, bring that back, decompile it, and inside that jar plugin is a password that is used by administrator to do the functions of the jar. We can use that password along with administrator to exploit PowerShell's run as function to run a reverse shell as the administrator user. Easiest way to do this is with the run as cs.exe binary, and then we catch the shell as root or administrator and complete the box. So thank you for listening with me today. Shadowlay, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, friends.